Good evening to all four of you. I think that's even counting my wife. So I don't really have a video this week. I could have done a video. I've actually got two videos that are in the can, so to speak, and a third one started. But it's going to all be about the E-Dabbler Mill and Supply Company that I'm working on, large structure build, and I want all of them to kind of come out together at the same time. So I just thought I would come in here, and if a few people show up and have any questions, about the railroad, the channel, anything like that, I'm happy to answer questions. Maybe show a few other things that I'm doing. Let's see who all's here. We've got Lynn. Good evening, Lynn. And John. And Gerald. Randy Doman. That's it. I think we've increased our numbers by almost double. Okay. Anybody got any questions? Probably not. This will be a really ugly stream on a replay. Someone watching, that guy was just really struggling to say anything on camera. Lynn makes a good comment. He knows there's a number of model train YouTubers that are getting burned out. That's a good. I could ask this as a question to anybody watching right now and or watching later on a replay. How do you deal with frustration? I had a very frustrating weekend last week. Pretty much Friday was good. I got a lot accomplished Friday, but Saturday it was brutal. I didn't get anything done. And I'm one of those people that I have a goal every day when I step in here. I like to have an idea of what it is I'm going to do. And if I don't get done at least some of what I tried to do, I feel like a failure, which is stupid because it's a hobby, right? But I'll show you what I was trying to do. See how many people, anybody else showed up here. We got Joseph Taylor, hello. And Steve Train Waybills. That's a name I don't know that I've seen before. Or Joseph Taylor. Hello. Welcome to the odd live stream. So this is what I tried to do last weekend. And my camera's probably mirrored. Well, maybe it's not. I don't know. But the plan was to paint this onto a wall. And I had a couple of different ways that I was going to try and do it. Let's see if I can show. The problem was the masking. I had some tape that I thought when I purchased, I thought this was Tamiya masking tape. Turns out it's like 10 times worse than the regular blue tape. Extremely easy to rip. It does not stretch at all. But what I found out is that dealing with a circle, every time I would peel this circle off, the shape when I tried to put it onto the wall changed. I'm sure there's a technique that I'm just not aware of yet. I've seen the tape, masking for those kinds of things done by other people, but I've never seen anything do like concentric circles kind of thing. And I tried like 4 different times. I did have this thing, which is a real nice compass that got a sharp blade on it. That part wasn't the difficult part. Once I lifted the tape off of the plastic, and tried to put it on, the tape just changed shapes, and I just, after 4 times and like 3 hours later, I gave up, and I did do something to the wall. I can find it. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. Stand by. This is what I ended up doing, which is just paper. And this specific wall, you know, is probably not ever going to be seen. That's why I started here. And it's still the lucky strike. But I didn't have any luck whatsoever. And it kind of that was on Saturday after back on track. And it really kind of ruined Sunday for me. Came back out here and tried to do a couple other things on Sunday, and I never found the groove, if you know what I mean. You kind of get into that zone of doing things and you feel good about what you're doing, and Sunday was almost as bad. I finally gave up and just ran a train. I was successful at running the train. Let's see what people are saying in here. Let's see. Steve says he's a long-time sub, first time in your live stream. Well, I don't do very many live streams, so this is really like a second for me. Randy says, I was frustrated today with my hand spiking. A curved number 5 switch in track. I just walked away and went for a walk. Wise man. If I don't read the writing on the wall at the right time to walk away, things will get ugly quick. So knowing when to walk away, I think, is very key in dealing with frustration in the hobby. The slow kill. I am from New Haven, Connecticut, waiting for a total lunar eclipse. Is that tonight? Huh. Let's see. What Lynn says, at least you didn't have the issue Dave from Do It Yourself Digital. His blue painter's tape ruined his $10 a foot backdrop. Ooh. How did it ruin it? Because I've got some blue tape on my backdrop right now. Of course, it's on the blue sky. I plan on cutting all that out anyway, so I don't think it can. Well, there's Claude. The whole live stream just went out the window. Lynn says, wouldn't say frustrated, but a mid-size YouTuber, no names here, told me he's very depressed at content and issue with YouTube. I didn't know how to help. Yeah. So, as far as the railroad goes and the layout, I'm as stoked as I ever have been with what's going on. I feel a little discombobulated, I guess, at the minute right now for other reasons. So I'm one of those people that I like to do things in straight lines. A, B, C, D, it's got to be in the right order. I get things in my mind that has to be a certain way. And if you can't do E without doing A, B, C, and D again first, you rinse and repeat, whatever. And that's kind of how I felt this whole winter, is that I've gotten so close with the bench work and the track work to a couple of different goals that I never really felt terribly inspired to do any structure builds. I know that I need to do structure builds, but I feel like there's things unfinished. And when things are unfinished, I feel like I'm not doing what I should be doing, which is the ABC before the D, you know. Let's see, what else we got? Let's see. Spent the afternoon trying to get a LED addressable chip programmed with an IOTT blue hat. I don't know what any of that means. At least, I mean, I can kind of understand the addressable LED, but I'm not sure about the IOTT blue hat. That's some technology I'm not familiar with. Let's see. How do I get rid of that now? Where did it go? There it is. Do it yourself and dig. Used blue tape to hold down. Oh, I already read that. How did I get that far behind? I'm probably way far behind. Anyone here seen Franklin and South Manchester say in last year's October, finally after 22 years now? Say what, Joseph? That he's finished? Is he calling it finished? Is that what you mean? I'm really liking how the layout is coming. I will soon be working on a 5.5 millimeter scale narrow gauge layout. 5.5 millimeter. That's pretty small. Is that like N scale? That's what. That would be even smaller than N scale. Hey, Curly. If I get to work, I will make the video. Well, I don't see any other questions. Has anyone else seen the Franklin and South Manchester? I don't. There's model railroaders who haven't. That is like one of the epic benchmark model railroads out there. It's amazing. That's probably inspired more model railroaders than we could ever possibly know. Trying to think if there's anything else I could mention or talk about. I've got another thing that I did a little bit earlier today, right after I get off work. I've got, I think I've mentioned this before, I've got like at least one full train's worth of cars that do not run. And so I sat down, you know, I'm going to try and get at least one of these cars running. Still haven't succeeded. I might get this one to go. This one I think's got a little bit of weight in it, but when they built it, they left these pegs on. This is a rail line car. This one I've already done. I cut the peg off, sanded it down, drilled, and have used different trucks. And you know, if they just wouldn't have glued the doors, I could open the doors and I could go in with a little bit of weight. But every one of these cars, every one of them, I think there's 9 of them over there. They're built up. Most of them they did at least as good a job as I would have done building them. Not a single one of them, they put 1 ounce of extra weight. And so they just bounce around on the railroad. You wonder why they derail. I don't get it. Deep Run Mike has a question. With a full season on your block buildings, how have they held up? Any checking? I go check now. What am I checking for, Mike? Do we want to go check? Should I take the camera and go check? I could do that. It's a little dark over there. Let me know what we're checking for, Mike, so I know what to look for. I need more questions. Help me out, guys. This is you know, a team effort. I need someone to help. Even my wife is not asking any questions or throwing shade at me. That's a little weird. The wooden block buildings did the wood split. You know, I can't say that I've looked for any of that. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see what we can do here. Settings, front cam, back cam. Now I won't be able to see chat this way, I don't think. Luckily, I don't have to watch this, so I won't be the one getting sick. I think I am at least using the audio on this. We'll start down here on this end. And this is the Cobbler building. I don't see any issues on it. Let me try doing this a little different. I'm going to go check the chat real quick just in case, nobody can see me. Okay, I'm looking at chat. Can everybody still hear me? Is there anything weird going on? Okay, I think everyone can hear me. So here is the Cracker Baker. Oh no, Graham. This is Graham. She fell down up there in the trellis. I haven't glued her in yet. Let's see. I'm pushing buttons. Everything looks pretty good to me. This is one of those areas on the layout that is in a state of what's it going to look like? Of course, I was very selective. Now there's an issue you can kind of see. The porch has, I think that can be managed. That's actually plastic. I think that can be managed later on somehow, some way. And even if it does peel up a little bit, I think I'll be all right with just add dirt. Here is the I apologize for the lack of light. It's one of those projects down the road. Let's see if I can. It's a little better. It looks to me like they're holding up pretty good. So And then this one's the ugly building. Every time I look at it, I can't decide if I like it or if I hate it. But I think they appear to all be holding up pretty good. Better get back and see what's going on. Not much has changed in the layout room at all. Of course, I've got this. I've shared that before on Back on Track. There we go. All right, let's see what people are saying. Back up a little bit here. I like the lead shot idea for the underbelly of the trains to add weight. There's some stuff called liquid steel or something like that. I think it's a very fine shot. The issue is getting it to stick to the underneath frame. Let's see. The wife spent the evening getting blamed for her students' bad grades and behaviors. Okay, I'm not going to touch that one. Grandpa Rails, you're modeling the 1930s or earlier. I'm modeling at least the 1930s. I might get this wrong, but the K37, I think, came out in 1928. So I can't really, if I don't want to time warp too much, I have to be at least 1928 or later. I do find it a little appealing to maybe do during the war years, maybe as late as 45. I don't know. I'm trying to be pretty vague with the signs that I put on, and some of those things I don't really care about, as long as it's not obvious. You know, I'm not going to have like a 1970s pickup on the layout, obviously, but you know, I like Model A's, so that's kind of the feel I'm looking for. Mike says he likes that method of buildings. I like it too. There's a lot of advantages, I think. There's also plenty of disadvantages too. Lynn says he would say the solid wood block buildings should have held up unless Dennis used green wood. No, I didn't use green wood. All the wood I've used, I purchased when I built the inside of here. They're all of the scrap. And I'm being very picky and choosy about which 2x4s I use, because they're not tuba 4s. See, Container Man says, did you seal the wood blocks before adding the siding? I did not. My rationale was the glue ought to seal it in and of itself. Maybe that's flawed theory. I don't know. Mike Pfeiffer, hey, wow, I got somebody important in the chat. I'm glad to see you here, Mike. Let's see. Thanks for looking for a reference to look for 3D printed rolling stock. Thanks. Oh, I see. Thanks, comma. Looking for reference for 3D printed rolling stock. So there's Gato models, Gato, Spanish for cat. I know he's got several different projects that he sells that are really good quality at a really affordable price. I haven't seen anyone that offers a 3D printed gondola. I need at least probably 2 more full trains of those to fill out the layout. Lenz narrowed his time period between 1850 to 2000. It's very narrow, Lynn. I like that. Liquid gravity, that's it. That's it, liquid gravity. I don't know anything about it, but let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've got going on that I did pick this up. The retail price on this is $41.60. I got it for $35. And it was a buy now kind. I didn't even have to bid on it. I was like, wow. Now I have to add all the grab irons. I haven't decided if I want to maybe make my own grab irons or use some Tichy's. I hate plastic grab irons. I've opened it up. There's a little section across the top there that apparently has popped off. But other than that, it looks like it's in good shape. We'll add one more gone to my fleet. Dennis and Roy, 150 years, make it easy just to fit about anything in. That's a true statement. And as I recall, you're also about 175 years old yourself, so you are a subject matter expert in everything from about that time frame. Holly OM30, amazing. Oh, it just disappeared. Let's see. Amazing. I caught a live LOL. Just want you to know how much I enjoy watching your videos and how much I'm learning and appreciate you. Well, thank you, Holly. Either Holly S or Holly's OM30. I'm just a guy building a model railroad and sharing it. Colorado and Southern, yep. Mike says hit the thumbs up. So take Mike Pfeiffer's advice and hit the thumbs up. That helps. Lynn says he is 75% of a century, and my pop's parents moved to California around 1890. Nice. Now, when you say pops, is pops grandfather or father? Because different people use different terminologies in different regions of the United States. My dad's dad, my grandfather, was born in 1885. He's either 1885 or 1895. So my dad was technically a traditionalist. He was not a boomer. So I was raised probably with almost as many traits as what a boomer would have been raised with, you know, because they were dirt poor. Granddad, he was a professional cowboy. I've got his spurs in the house. That's what he did. Professional cowboy, and from what I understand, that's all he ever did. Let's see, John Blisman. So, I think, John, have you been the one that's been kind of blowing up some of my comments and some of my past videos? There's been a few people that's come in and asked questions and stuff that are kind of new. John, I really like your content and skill set. How are you doing with LCC? Do you recommend it on a mid-size layout? On a mid-size layout. I'm not sure what, I mean, everybody's idea of small, medium, large can vary. I love LCC. I think it's great technology depending on what you want to do with it. If you're going to have signaling, I think there's probably nothing out there better personally. Everything, I mean, you know, when you start talking about stuff like this, everyone's got an opinion, and, you know, don't take what I say and, you know, run with it. Do research. That's my advice to anyone in the hobby who's thinking about doing any one thing. You know, look into it, do research, get more than one opinion about anything and everything. LCC is, it's not, I would not call it, it's not ready to run, so to speak. It's not, they're not plug and play. There's definitely a learning curve unless you're already someone that's in that programming space, I guess. I don't really know how to explain it. Once I figured out how it works and kind of internalized all of it, it's pretty easy. There's a lot of advantages to it. Let's see what else we got here. Claude is now here. Can we stand it? Just barely. John Blisman, are you the one that was doing the ON30? Is that, am I getting you confused with somebody else? See if I missed anything. Oh, here's one. I missed this one. Forward velocity. Happy to catch a live. I was going through and watching some of your scratch build videos. Great work. Thank you. I appreciate that. Got a lot more scratch builds to do. A lot more. Well, kind of trying, I'm just looking around the room now, seeing if there's anything else we can talk about. Oh, here's something else that is new to me. I got the UTW or the UWT 50. This is nice. I wasn't sure how I was going to like it. I would say that it's really kind of it's certainly made working the yards a lot more enjoyable, because I can hold it in my left hand, work the wheel, and keep my skewer in the other hand, and I can really feather and stop the train right where I want to. And all of the commands are real easy. The shift function to get to anything beyond your 10th function, really simple. And the display works really well, where you can kind of at a glance know what's going on with it. Now this is the P, which means that there's a solid stopping point, if I understand right. You know, so it works like a volume knob, and there's a yard function on it where, so if it's rolled all the way up there like that, and that's 0, you're not going anywhere, then you begin this way, and then of course that's your 128th speed step. If you go into yard mode and you're 0 there, yard mode puts 0 on this knob at the bottom, and there's an indent there that you can feel, that's 0. So now if I work it this way, I'm in reverse, 0. If I work it that way, I'm forward. And then you can configure the maximum speed in your yard into the throttle. So right now I've got it set to 25, so I can zoom it all the way up, and the locomotive's not going to go any faster than 25. And then if you've got a locomotive that also has half speed, then you can push on my locomotive, that's function 7, so you can cut 25 down to like 12. Very, very nice. I'm glad I got it. Let's see what other comments we got here. Is anybody helping me out with questions? Let's see. How's the ops coming along? That's my thing, obviously. Ops are wonderful. You know, it's really nice to, like, you know, if you weren't in the stream earlier, we talked a little bit about getting frustrated. How do you handle frustration when, that's what I did. You know, I had a bad day on Saturday. You know what? It's time to run some trains. And the way, you know, mine are in order, timetable order. I'm ready to run my 2 turn trains anytime I want. I just got to build them in the computer, and I'm really enjoying it. Let's see. What's Lynn say? My newest modules, the Dry Gulch Ghost Town. There are cars and wooden wagons while the modern day cars go down the highway. So time frame is all over. That sounds like there's some warpage of reality there, Lynn. Roy. I'm sitting here in the sleeper and I hear a train horn. I think it's the local moving tank cars around in the yard. I'm planning out the rest of my life. Build in the new building, something to work on when it's wet or cold. I may focus this fall is my outdoor build though. So we must have a garden railroad. A Deep Run says, I have one of those still, have not fully taken time to learn yet. Is that the Throttle? Are you going to paint the knob like Heath? I don't think so. I don't know what color I'd paint it. I don't know that I have an official Otter Creek color yet. I mean, there's a couple of different colors in my logo I can choose from. I'm not inspired to do that at the moment. I think one of Heath's reasons for doing that is so that when he goes to other people's layouts, his throttle is easily recognizable and might not get mixed up as somebody else's throttle. Don't do anything like Heath does. I try not to. Did Heath paint it blue to match the blue smoke burns up? No, he painted it Hooker's green. We don't know why he painted it Hooker's green, but we might learn eventually. How big is my room? Hey, there's a question. The room is roughly 29 by 26. It's 26 this way and about 29 that way. Let's see. Hooker green. You should paint the Otter Creek logo on. Now, I did think that. I had a brief thought that I could decal it, you know, with the Otter Creek logo right here if it was the right size or smaller, and then clear coat it. That might be cool. I did think about that. Who is HR Geodude? I got that wrong. I apologize. Dennis, do you have a PO box for folks who'd like to send you fun stuff for the layout? We might have to define what fun is. Everyone's got a different idea of fun. I do have a PO box. Email me. My email should be in the about section of the channel, and then maybe we can talk about that. I'm thinking I'm going to bed until near totally by now for Nick's to meet you. Nice to meet you too, Joseph. Thanks for dropping in. Working on a 7.5. I'm assuming that's is that inches or is that millimeters? Goal is 3,500 foot main loop, not too big but not too small. A few destinations for ops with friends on a large scale. Cool. Where did we go? Very cool. Just paint an arrow marking where the emergency stop point. Yeah. Sometimes she has a bright idea. Looks like Mike Pfeiffer's out. Thanks for stopping in, Mike. I really appreciate that. That was cool. Everyone's saying goodbye to Mike. How many designs did you go through to end up with your final layout vision? And do you have a layout map anywhere coming up with a rough layout design as part I'm struggling with for the HL layout? So the answer is yes and yes. Parts of this layout date back to the late 1900s, 1998, give or take. Frying pan has been a staple of pretty much every layout design that I've either put on paper or in the computer. Going back to when I very first got into the hobby in the late 90s. I couldn't count the number of revisions. I revised the layout for Cloud City just this last week. So it's been an ongoing process. Fun little tidbit about the track plan. When I very first got into, so I got into the hobby in the 98 in late 98. I got out for a period of years, moved, life, those kinds of things. I got back in 2015-ish, give or take. I can't really put a date on it, but one of the first things that I did was I got involved on a model railroad forum. And once I kind of got the room and kind of figured out what the dimensions of the room were, I came up with what I would call 1.1 version of the track plan. And I posted it on the model railroad forum. And of course, everyone hit me with, pretty ambitious, don't you think? A lot of track you got there. Most of the comments were, how I don't know how to put it. We'll just say that I think nearly everyone was very skeptical that I would be successful with what I got. And to give them credit, all of their comments, I would say, were very accurate as far as it's pretty ambitious, not a lie, a lot of track. There was several people like, I see you've got a lot of dual gauge on there, you know. So the long story short, every revision after 1.1, I have tried to say I'm not going to revise anything unless it's to simplify. So for the most part, everything you see now has gone through some kind of reductive effort to make the track plan more simple and better, I guess. You know, sometimes simple is better, but there were certain things like a frying pan, you could argue, is one of the more complicated aspects of the railroad, with the Y and having east and west and a south exit kind of had to be in the middle of the room. I ended up having to do a mirror image of it to fit it in the space because of where the door ended up being. But if you'd asked me then, I'm pretty proud of what I've done. I'll just put it that way. So part of me is driven to continue more because of the interface with those guys that you just kind of knew that they didn't think that I was going to be successful. So it's going to be successful. Might not be the best model railroad in the world by any means, but it's certainly going to do what I want it to do. That was a long kind of rant, wasn't it? let's see. Layout drawings for me. Oh, if you go into the channel under playlists, there should be a whole playlist just for track planning and operation, I think. I'm not going to swear that it's makes a whole hell of a lot of sense, but look at the titles. There, I know there's one in there where I think I go back to 1.1 for this room. I had lots of other track plans that didn't involve this room, but I think I do go all the way back. There's lots of different stuff there. Troy McFadden, there's a name I don't recognize. Hello, Troy. I think I recall you having a boxcar letter for your Otter Creek Railroad. Did you print those yourself or have them made? A guy by the name of Richard Smith, who is a subscriber of the channel, I guess got tired of me not having any Otter Creek and Railroad cars on the layout, and he designed for me. He hit me up on Facebook Messenger. We're both part of the HO Narrow Gauge Facebook group, and said, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? And I said, well, I'm absolutely going to do that. But as mentioned earlier, if you weren't here, I'm a straight line person. A, B, C, and D has to be done before E, F, and G. And I'm not there yet. So doing cars would be a shift of reality for me because I'm not ready to build cars. He pushed me, so to speak, and designed the decals, presented them to me. He said, here you go. And then he had the first page made. I forget the name of the place. You had to ask me. Up in Canada. And then so I went ahead and bought a full page of the decals and did that one car. I've now got 3 cars, but only one of them I built. I'm not going back until Dennis gets some of those wooden trestles built, along with some of those mountain and ravines. We both might die before then, Roy. You're good at thoroughly answering questions, babe. Thanks. I'm not sure if she was being shitty or not. Let's see. That, my dear, is vastly understated. I moved on this property a few years ago. I don't plan on moving. Finally have my dream spot for this. My room is 40. Were you the one who said it was a medium size? I must be misremembering, because 46 by 46, I think, meets the definition of large. That is definitely a man cave. Rest of my life project. That's what I consider this too. The rest of my life project. Looks like I'm caught up. Got about 10 minutes left here. Any other questions? Is there anybody listening that hasn't hit the thumbs up to say you like the stream, or even hit the thumbs down? I think that's still engagement. I've got at least 2 or 3 people that make it a point to come in and hit the thumbs down button on all of my videos. It's fun. He would make a great teacher. I've been trying to get him to apply to teach at my school, but he'd have, yeah, we talked about that. That'd be, I still would like to do it. I would. It's just, I don't know if we can afford to do it right now. When are you going to get some more really cool music for your videos? Man, I'll tell you. Are you talking about music that I have played and or produced? Because that's probably just not going to happen. That's too time consuming. I'm not going to collaborate and write more music or produce more music. but I'm all the time going into YouTube and trying to find the right music for what's going on. I'm not going to say that I'm 100% successful all the time, but I do. That is something that I care about when I make my videos. I haven't had, I don't know that I've ever had anyone, I've had a couple of people complain about the volume of the music, which just, I mean, there's editing involved in that. And you do kind of have to make a conscious effort when you're producing your video. Where is my voice peaking? Where is the music peaking? And you need to gain match those two signals so that there's not a huge contrast from one to the other. It's a pet peeve of mine as an audio engineer. I listen to a lot of podcasts. If I have to reach over and turn because they just put in an ad read that's 25 decibels louder than their mic volume. And that's another thing I'll say. I know that the mic volume, and there's probably a lot of room noise in this. I don't like that. I do have a professional quality mic. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work in this setup, but I might look into that. I don't know how well received a live video like this is. I feel a little weird about it. If I thought I was going to get a lot of people who enjoyed it, I would consider maybe doing this once a month, just because, and then I might look a little deeper into having a better quality mic for better quality sound. Let's see here. Any good resources for learning DCC and LCC apart from YouTube? All of my past layouts were antique 3-rail layouts and very basic. Want to go to HO now that the antiques are near 100 years old. I mean, I don't think there's a better place than YouTube for learning any and all of that stuff. And DCC, it's really pretty much plug and play, about as simple as you can get. And I don't think you'll have any issues personally. I mean, the wiring is, in my opinion, considerably more simple than, now if you did 3-rail, I think 3-rails, I've never messed with it, but I think the 3rd rail is what makes it easier than 2-rail. I could be wrong about that, but it's not difficult to do at all. And I guarantee there's a YouTube video somewhere that will be able to answer your questions. From an old band, but the sound was off. Yeah. Well, if you don't know, the intro song, Dirty Shame, that's me and my best friend from high school. He's singing and playing the dobro. All of the other instruments are me. I add music to drown out the background noise, but some like to hear truck rumble. As long as I don't have to hear the Thermal King turning off and on. I had a good friend, an Army buddy of mine that drove a truck, and he would occasionally park at the house. His route took him out to Guyman, and he would stay the night with us. And his Thermal King, the TK, I think is what he called it, come off and on, all night long. And I'm accustomed to dead silence when I sleep. Dennis, which cuts of music did you create? Create is not the word I would use. So the song Dirty Shame, my best friend Scott Nance wrote. That is his song. I would say I produced it, is the word I would use. He sent the song to me. He lives up in Montana. He sent the song to me, just him singing and playing dobro. I imported that into Pro Tools, and hours and hours later, I added the drums. I added everything to it. Everything you hear in that song was an additive process. The mandolin, all of that. So it's his song. I produced it and played all of the other instruments on it. That's how I would describe it. And then the one that I use for my structure builds, Dancing with the Devil. That's an Army buddy of mine, Dan Jordan. That's his song. Same thing. He wanted to cut a demo. Of course, I don't think he didn't tell me that he wanted to cut a demo with me. He told me, let's work together, kind of thing. And we recorded just his voice and the guitar. And same thing. Everything you hear on that Dirty Dancing song, besides the guitar and his vocal, is me. And I produced that song. After he took the demo and went to a different studio, like a professional studio. That song is available. You can actually look up Daniel Jordan Music on YouTube. Find that whole album. It's called Introduction, Daniel Jordan Music Introduction. And you can listen to his version of that song, Dancing with the Devil. And you will see there's some similarities, but I'm biased, but I like my version a lot better. I would say that his version is definitely more polished and better produced as far as quality goes. I think mine has a better feel personally. What did Roy say that he's correct about? Let's see. But model railroading is by far the best subject of all time. Come on now. Oh, yeah, I am getting off topic, aren't I? All right, we're getting down to the last 3 or 4 minutes here. Let's see what else we got. Check out DCCEX website for an option and lots of good info. I know nothing about the DCCEX. You should talk to him about it. It's learning electrical work, woodworking, modeling, scratch building structures, and computer programs. What are we talking to who about? Obviously, I missed something. Well, I think that I'm surprised that we filled this hour as easily as we did with just me yapping. I really appreciate all of you guys that show up and watch the videos and leave comments. It really makes a big difference. I've got that buy me a coffee. I apologize if anybody's still giving me money that you were expecting some kind of extra content on buy me a coffee. I don't think I will ever put out any extra content. I don't ever plan on putting anything behind a paywall. That's not me. I'm still not monetized. I could have monetized 2 years ago, I think. I just haven't done it. So it is what it is. I appreciate all you guys. And eventually I will cash out some more of that buy me a coffee money and buy something else with it. Just don't know when that'll be. I think I've got $36 in there now. Anybody wondering who that with me in the pic? That's John 26:18. Favorite airplane pilot. Jeff just got here. See you Saturday morning. All right, guys. I think I think we need to end it right here, right now. Drop a comment on your way out in the video and just let me know, do you think this is worth doing maybe once a month? As a general rule, there's usually at least one time during the month where I struggle to produce a produced video for the channel, kind of like I am right now. So if you thought this was cool, let me know. It is difficult to just talk about nothing for an hour by yourself. I'm not Heath, so I can't bounce back and forth between 3 different cameras and have stuff here to do and stuff like that. Although, maybe in the future, I don't know. But at any rate, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you later on. Have a good evening.